All right. Good evening, everyone. Good morning to some. Welcome to this month's Microsoft Productivity Power Hour for April, where we unlock Microsoft Office 365 tools for modern success. All right, next slide. All right, so a friendly reminder to all those who are here. All meetings are recorded and posted on our community and YouTube. So if you don't wish to be recorded, please stay on mute and off the camera or disengage from the call and watch the recording, please. Productivity Power Hour is sponsored and hosted by NCT Tech and Sister Technology. So we thank them. Next slide. So what we cover Microsoft Office 365 and unlock the full potential of cloud-based productivity and collaborational tools. Our sessions are designed to cater to end users, business owners, citizen developers, interactive learning. So monthly session, each session will be 1 hour. We do demos, Q&A at the end. Uh, if you have any questions, submit your question. We'll pick one up and answer in depth each month. If you have any questions during the presentations, please use the chat window before you forget, because we want to be able to answer all the questions that we can, or just raise your hand and we will call on you. Next slide. Cloud disclaimer. Because we are dealing with cloud-based tools, all cloud technology, including Microsoft, are constantly updating. So please excuse any inconsistency between our presentation slide and the current portal. Sometimes, because this is a cloud-based tool, one button may be there this morning, and they might switch it to somewhere else by the evening based on the update. So just give us a chance to look through and get it ready for you and be able to present it. So last time we talked about OneDrive for Business as your personal workspace for securing files, storage, and sharing, and how you can use it to sync files, share securely, and access version history and collaboration effectively with colleagues and others. By the end of today's session, we're going to look at creating impactful presentation with Microsoft PowerPoint. From the tips today, you'll be able to do things like apply simple designs, principles for clean slides, use slide master consistent designs, add animations that support your message without overdoing it, collaborate in real time, and present confidently. Next slide. And today we'll be having Nikkia Carter will be doing an open demo on PowerPoint. So without further ado, it's demo time. Let's get into some demos.
All right, so thanks, Harry. Okay, so we're about to talk about how PowerPoint can be helpful for every leader. And well, not about why, but even though this slide tells you why, but how you can use it to be more impactful when you're doing your presentations and things. And these are things that every business leader needs to know. So why does it matter? Slides support your message. They can drive the point home or they can cause a lot of confusion. Some of the issues that we tend to see is overcrowded slides, inconsistent fonts, too many animations or transitions. And there are tools in PowerPoint to fix that. Now, there are times where your slide does have to be a little bit more robust, but you try to cut down the stuff as much as possible. But we'll go ahead and get into this first part, and that's design basics and layout. So some design tips that can help your slides instantly. is having one idea per slide or one main idea per slide. Of course, you're going to have, text that goes with that idea. Use layouts instead of check boxes where you can, because there are times where you also want to use those text boxes. But for the most part, you're going to want to use layouts and use consistent font and spacing. So some of the ways, some way that you can make sure of that is using layouts and themes. So if we go ahead and look at, so say, for example, we're going to go through these steps. We're going to look at the design tab. We're going to apply a theme or look at the themes. We might not actually apply, but we can look at themes. You can also download themes, and I'm going to show you where to download it, but that's the link that you can go to. We'll switch the slide layout so you can see what some of that looks like and how you can switch around the layouts. Um, and see how you could replace the different text boxes with a clean layout, even though, like I said, sometimes you do need those different text boxes. And then we'll also look at the designer for design ideas. So let's go ahead and look at a PowerPoint presentation. Um, when you're first starting off, a lot of times you're putting a bunch of ideas into your slides. Sometimes things come out really jumbled and you need to just fix things and make them look a little bit better. We'll come back to this page in a second, but as far as talking about this home slide, but let's go ahead and look at the design tab, which we actually happen to be on. And here is where you can find themes. So design tab, themes. Click on this drop down and there are some themes that you can get. These themes come out of the box and some of them are pretty old and pretty stale. So you might not want to use these themes. You might want something a little bit more fresh. And there's a way for you to get something more fresh. Now, there used to be this link right here, which my mouse for some reason disappeared. So you can't see down at the, oh, there it goes. Enable content updates from Office. That's this place that I'm about to show you right here. Right here. So if you go to powerpoint.cloud.microsoft, it'll take you to this create in, templates and all of that. And then you can see, go here and you can see all the different types of templates that you can get. And sometimes this takes a little bit, but here we go. You can look at all these different templates. Now, these templates do have some text in them, just so you can see what it looks like, but that doesn't mean that that's the text you're going to get. So, for example, if I wanted to use, let's say, this template, because that's the one I chose earlier, I get into it and I edit it, then I download it. Well, I get into it, it opens it up like this. And then I download it and I save it. So I just save a copy, right? When I go to look for it, if I want to go look for it in the PowerPoint presentation that I'm in, then I would go to the same design tab, go to the same themes, browse for themes, and then I'd browse for wherever I put the theme at. For you, I would suggest, especially if you're going to use a lot of themes that Microsoft has, you've got a bunch of them that you like and you download them, I would put them into a specific spot. But this one I didn't put in a specific spot. I just downloaded it real quick. So then I'm going to hit apply. And it's going to give me that theme, but with the words that I have in this thing. Okay, so it's opening the theme. Just hold on a second. And there we go. So the same slides that I just had a second ago. Same title slide, same all the rest of these slides. Nothing else changed except for the theme. So I can get a theme from Microsoft and I can use that, or I can use the ones that are out of the box, as I said. And then once I change to a theme that I like, then I can do some more, finagling around. So the next thing we want to talk about after themes is the layouts. So each slide has the ability for you to change the layout. You can go to that slide, you click on the slide, and there is layouts right here. These layouts, whoops, give you different representations on how the slide can be created using these different chunks, like a place for title and a place for a subtitle, or like this other one that's next, the agenda slide, where the agenda would go good in there, or introduction. So there's different types of slide looks and feels with different boxes that help you keep all that content straight. So you have your title, you'll have your body, your title or your title, things like that. Or even a slide, as you could see at the very end, that doesn't have, and I can't move my mouse, that's why. Oh, well, actually, I can. Just got to be careful. Okay. There we go. This slide at the end where there is no, it's just a blank. So you could just like populate it with anything. Okay. So this one is using the layout of title and subtitle. So actually, I should probably move, since I have this title here, down to my subtitle box to make the slide look a little bit better when it comes to my title slide. But as you can see, there's a difference with this slide that has this box and this box, and some of the other slides, because actually the one I'm about to go to, it would be this slide. Oh, no, sorry, this slide. This is the slide that's being used, the title slide. But there's also the header, section header slides and other different slides types, layouts that you can use. Okay. When it comes to using these layouts, they can be more helpful than having, say, for example, something like this, where I do have a bunch of text boxes on this page. And actually, I'm going to take the theme off just so you can see it a little bit better, a little bit easier. All right. All right. So I have a bunch of text boxes on here. You can see that the font's different, the different sizes, stuff is like not, there's different spacing, space between here is smaller than this space. Those two spaces are about the same. This one maybe about the same, but you see this bullet is completely off. So in order to consistentize this slide, you could go and you could change the slide's layout to say, for example, title and content. And that will put the first bullet into this bigger text box. The rest of them, you're going to have to move all this text into here. So like, say, for example, taking this, set out. I usually also get rid of the text box, even though sometimes it gets rid of itself, and then just put the text in there. And then I put the box back here. Usually I'll move these boxes over as opposed to moving that, but still, I think you get the point. You add all of your text into the one box and it stays consistent. The spacing is a bit more consistent. Even with me just going to the next bullet, it automatically put that, line and a half of spacing in there, as opposed to me trying to eyeball it and things like that. Now, there are times where you really do need these extra text boxes. And we'll go over that in a minute. But a lot of times you're going to want to have everything uniformed and things like that. You can also use, let's say, for example, so actually I'll show you that. So one of the examples for the text boxes, if you have like several text boxes like this, or even text boxes with many points, which I can show you in a minute. But another way to format your slides is to use the design suggestions. Now, usually I use a theme. Oops, actually, sorry, wrong one. Usually I use a theme and then I start from the theme, or I start from blank slides and then I go into using this design suggestions. It just depends on how quickly I want to get the slide deck done, how creative I want the slide deck to be. But sometimes using this design suggestions can actually make it a bit make your slides a little bit more even with the theme on it. So you can apply a theme and then do design suggestions. So like, so, maybe you have a box here with just some points in it. It may give you a design suggestion like this with the theme behind it, which could look pretty good. But you can change things around. So even if I were to choose a theme, or like you saw, choose a design or choose a theme, I can always undo it by just hitting the undo button. Okay, I think I saw some stuff in chat, so I'm just going to pause for a second and see if there were any questions before I, oh, okay. So I'll see there's no questions. Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll move on to this next part of the demo, and let's talk about now the slide master. So becoming more consistent at scale. So the theme actually helps you become kind of consistent, because it gives you a consistent look and feel across all of your slides, as far as the background images, the colors, and things like that. But you can also use the slide master, for helping with that consistency as well. So a slide master can help you with fixing your formatting once and it apply everywhere. It's really helpful for consistent branding, for client decks, and for reusable templates. So if we look at our deck again, okay, if I want to get to the slide master, oh, I forgot to say we were about to go through these demo steps. Let me just show the demo slide real quick. So we're going to go to the demos, the slide master, so I can just show you that. We're going to look at the slide master and the different layouts and how that stuff kind of works by doing some changes, doing some font changes, the footer, the putting a logo on it and things like that. And then we'll exit the slide master so you can see what it looks like. All right. So the slide master. Sometimes I get confused between review and view, but it's under view. And it's in this section where it says master views. So you click on slide master and it lands you on this first slide. Now you may think this is the main slide, but this isn't really the main slide. This is the main slide most people use. So this is the one that they show first, but you also have some other slides up here. A lot of people use this format where they have the text box and it gives you these little buttons where you can actually input things into it. But a lot of people also use this one. And I tend to go to this slide and modify this slide because this slide actually more connects to all the rest of these slides. But anyway, let's just see. Okay, so when I'm in here, I have a bunch of things that I can do, but we're going to concentrate on this portion. There's my theme again, so I can set a theme from here. Any of these themes, I can set any of them. I can browse to that theme that I had before and reset the theme. Also colors. Now I have different color palettes, which you could use the customized color to create your own color palettes. Since we have the two different brands, and then we also have a brand for our tech communities, as well as brands for some of the clients that we work with, I have a couple of different patterns up here. So you can create your own custom pattern, and then if you add it, then you'll see, okay, this didn't really give me a, well, we'll probably see it more when we get over into the other side. The colors for certain things will be changed. I also like to change my fonts here. I usually use Aptos now. A lot of people use Calibri still. There's Arial, which people still use, but it gives you the ones from the ones that people are using most now to the ones that are not as much in use, and then others that you can use. You can also customize your and come up with your own font, and then that would be in this list. But I always use Aptos. But if I chose to use maybe Calibri, you see how the text changes. Arial, you can see how the text changes there. Just looking at the slide behind the scenes. If you look at this slide back here, Georgia, Germond. So I can hover over some of these things before clicking on it, or just click on it to get it. To take. Okay, there we go. All right. Footer can also be added here. Page number could automatically go in there and everything. Sometimes you have to activate the footer and the header though, which I have my footer activated, so they would show on the page. If this was unchecked, they would not be there. I can also add insert things like, where is my, uh, right. So some things, I always forget this part sometimes. Sometimes there are things that you want to do that aren't necessarily in the slide master ribbon, but you can still use the other ribbons. So what I was about to do was to upload that logo. I have to actually go to the insert instead of getting it off the slide master. So that's one thing they don't have on the slide master. So if I were to go to add a logo, okay. Oh, my actually, there we go. So can add this logo or that logo, doesn't matter. Edit. Although later it might matter if I were to put the theme back on. And then I can place it. Oh, dang, that's how I got off of this. That's what happened. I was on the wrong slide. I was on the wrong layout slide. So see how I was saying this slide, if you're on this slide, it controls all the rest of the slides. So when I put the logo there, it actually put the logo on all the rest of these slide formats, as opposed to when I put the logo by mistake just on this one, then it just put it on just that one. So that's why I always use this one for the most part, because it controls all the rest of the slides that are, well, that's not showing up right now, but it controls all the rest of the slides going down the tree for the rest of the different layouts. Now, sometimes people forget that they put the logo into the slide master and then they come back here and it lands them on the slide, this slide, or I think it lands them on this slide. And then they're trying to click on it and they're like, I can't get back to the logo. It's gone. No, it's not gone. It's still on the first slide. So just go back up to the first slide and then you're able to click on it and adjust it. So if it needed to be smaller, maybe it needed to be down here in the corner somewhere, you can adjust it there. Okay. So now when we exit the slide master, we have our logo and the footers are not showing up. Sometimes that happens. If that happens, then just find the, oh, where is the footers again? To design. You know what? Let me not go the long way. Header footer. Okay. Oh, another thing, just because I use that box. In case you don't know, this box, when you're in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, this box up here is the one for formulas and commands and things like that. There may be a box that may be down here somewhere, and that would be like in Excel, that box is over here. That would be for stuff going directly into the spreadsheet. So I just went up here instead of trying to find it. I just went up here and typed in footer, and it gave me header footer, and now I can turn it on because it wasn't actually turned on. Oh, that's weird. Footer's not showing up. Okay. Well, if the footer doesn't show up, that footer information, and you put it in the slide master, and for some reason it doesn't show up, just put it back in here, hit the apply to all, and it'll apply it everywhere. So back up just in case the slide master for some reason doesn't work on that part. But as you saw, it worked on the logo. It gave me the same, I had it still in Aptos. So it gave me those ones. It gave me those things. Just checking. Okay, making sure don't have any before we go back. Okay. All right. So that can be a real time saver if you set your theme ahead of time, especially if you don't want to go like extra crazy with your design and whatnot. You want it to be uniformed, and like very uniformed. You set that theme first, you go into the slide master, you add your logos and whatever else that you need to add, change your footer, maybe change your colors and things like that, potentially. Um, and then they'll apply across all the layouts, and then you're able to just easily create your slides or keep on with your slides. All right. So now let's look at transitions and animations and when you want to use those intentionally. Now, I just realized that not just, but my deck, the title keeps on coming in, and that's because we had changed something and I forgot to change that back. So you could see the animation of the title coming in, but normally you wouldn't just animate the title. A lot of times you would animate the text and not the title, or animate the whole slide. But why? To animations can draw attention, but you probably shouldn't use them for entertainment, especially if you use them too much. It can be a distraction. So more is less. I mean, less is more. Less is more. All right. So if we look at how to do some of these animations and transitions, we're going to select the bulleted list. Then I'm just going to do a simple fade up here animation. Then I'm going to um, adjust the timing and the order to stuff so that it animates things in a certain way. So the title comes up first, and then the bullets come up next, and then also have it transition to another slide from a previous slide. So I'm going to do all of that, and then we're going to preview that. Okay. So let's go ahead and use this one with the points on it because it's in um, different, I mean, one whole text box as opposed, actually, no, I'm gonna use this one. Sorry, this was the one I wanted to use. Even though this one has multiple text boxes, this is a good reason to have multiple text boxes is for animations if you want to drive home that kind of point. So let's go to do the animations first. We go to the animations section ribbon um, tab and then open the ribbon, sorry. Then we add an animation. Now I usually just go here and add an animation. So let's do a fade in here, fade this one in. Let's fade this one in. And of course, yes, you'll have to do it in all the places, all the boxes, and or pictures or whatever else, shapes, anything else that you have in here that you want to transition in. I mean, be animated to transition into the slide. Then you use the animations on each one of the boxes or each one of the icons or pictures or whatever it is. Now you can see there's numbers here. So I could change the numbers of these things. So say, for example, if I wanted to move number 3, I can reorder it by using the reorder animation on the end of the ribbon. And I can move it to earlier. So maybe I want it to come in second, even though that really is crazy, or move it to later. And you saw how the numbers changed. I can also say when is this gonna, when are these animations gonna start? Will it start on click? Would it start after the previous thing or with the previous thing? I always use after previous for the most part, and then you set your duration. So this one is gonna be, let's say, 25 seconds. I don't think I have to set this delay thing is a little 25 seconds. It might be a little much, but we'll see in a second. Of course, you can always adjust once you do those things. Set all of your timers and everything. I'm not quite sure on the delay yet because this one's a little new for me, although it does say, I don't really use this one. It says play the animation after a certain number of seconds. If it's, oh, and I forgot to change all of these. If it's after previous for everything, oh crap, I forgot about that. Um, okay. If it's after previous for everything, it really should, they should go one by one. They should cascade. And then after, yes, earlier, later. Okay, we're going to see that in a second. I might have to adjust. All right. Now I'm going to put the transition on the slide before, even though the slide is still messy. We're going to add a transition. Now the transition moves us from one slide to the other slide, where the animation gives animation to the things on the slide itself. So if we were to, actually, I think I'm about to do this wrong. All right. Now I usually put timer on, and so we're going to move this slide after 5 seconds. We're also going to move this slide after 5 seconds. But I usually leave the mouse click on just in case it fails for some reason, um, because I have had it fail for some reason. But usually lately, I haven't seen that happen. So let's go ahead and look at the slideshow. And it should stay on for 5 seconds, and then there we go. Now the delay, I guess this is where I'm going to have to put the delay since whoops, and I forgot I put the animation on that too. So it was 5 seconds and went to the next one, 5 seconds and went to the next one. But as you can see, all the bullets came in first. Let me end this. Um, the transition was on this one of 5 seconds. I didn't have to click the mouse. I just went to this slide. It was on. It actually worked. So it went straight to this one. And then because these were all set to go after each other before I even set the times, even though they all said 0, as you saw, they all came in after each other, even though the timing wasn't right. So that's where that delay is going to come in. And then I went to this slide, which was the next slide to transition to after 5 seconds. So got to put on that delay. That way, this slide, if you want each of these boxes to not come up so fast, you can delay it a little bit so that it doesn't come up so fast, especially if you're going to have them all on the animations. Here we go. If you're going to have them all having the after previous in the same duration. Just checking again. Okay, not seeing any questions. Now, guys, if y'all have questions, please let me know while we're going through this. But if you want to hold them to the end, you can. But you can put them in the chat window, and I am monitoring it as well as Harry. All right. So now let's talk about collaborating. And this is basically the last demos that we're going to have. We're going to talk about collaboration and presenting. So collaboration in PowerPoint can be super helpful. There are times where you're working on presentations by yourself, but there are times where you're tag teaming with folks. Other folks need to do their portion of the slides, or they're responsible for helping you with the slides, or what have you. But you can have folks join you in the slides and work on them at the same time. It can help you to stop emailing PowerPoints around. I don't know how many times somebody tried to email something, especially back in the day. I was part of some of those chains where people ended up making changes to the wrong PowerPoint presentation or the wrong Word document or whatever, because they didn't get they got dropped off the last email. Or for some reason they didn't see the last email and they saw the one previous and they updated that deck instead of the current one. So it can help with all of that. And then of course it works seamlessly with OneDrive and SharePoint. All right. So the steps here, for this one anyway. Then the next thing I'll show you is presenting, how you present, some of the tools that can help you and help you remain confident while you're presenting, especially if you have two screens. But let's go into looking at the document in real time and working in the document together. So if some of you want to get into the document with me, I will share a link. Not the document, I'm sorry, PowerPoint. But I'm going to, let's see, share. Let's share this into the chat. Um, and then okay, let's make sure this is anyone link. Anyone can edit. There we go. Copy the link. And I'm going to put it in the chat. Now, we kind of did some of this the last time when we were talking about OneDrive. It's basically the same thing. Anybody can use this link since I chose an anyone link. When I chose to share, I went to the gear. I made sure the link was for anyone, and I made sure that people can edit it. So if you wanted to send it to somebody outside of your organization for them to help you, because maybe you're tag teaming with, you're doing a community call or something like that, you're tag teaming with somebody that's not your organization, but you're the one doing this deck, you're the one started it, and you want everybody else help you out, then you share anyone link. But if it's an internal thing, if all these people are internal to your company, then I would use either people in your company or people with existing access if you know they already have access existing in the place where this thing lives. Okay. But anyway. Oh, and then there's the people you choose. If you use the people you choose, you got to go back to the previous screen after you set that and then put in email addresses and it'll give it straight to those people. And those are only people that will be able to access it. But I can see that we have some people in with me. Harry's here, and then we have some guest contributors here. So I can see since Harry's internal to my organization, his picture is there, not just his initials. But since this is an anyone link for anybody else outside of the organization, they're going to show up as guest contributors, not with an actual name, unless you use the people you choose and send it directly to them, as we talked about earlier. I can also see where they are in the slide deck. So I see Harry's on slide 2. We have a guest contributor on slide 4, and we have a guest contributor on slide 1. Now, if I were to say, for example, ask Harry to, since he's on slide 2, to click on the slide, like in one of the text boxes, and like start typing. So you can see where he is. Now that you could see that he was on the slide, but because he hadn't actually selected anything, it didn't show him like in the slide. But now you can see he's in the slide. He's actually typing. You see the little dots up here saying that he's typing. Now, because he is typing in this box right here, I may or may not be able to. Microsoft changes this sometimes where you can still make changes. Well, it looks like I can, unless you just got out the box. Did you just get out the? Oh, okay. Sometimes you can still make changes to things, but when I noticed in Word the other day, is that they lock down the sentence. So you may be able to change things when somebody is on that thing that you're working on. They be on this slide and you might want to change something on that slide, on a different slide. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, on the same slide. You might want to change something in the same section on that same slide. As you saw right now, I can still do that. But in Word, when I tried to update a sentence that somebody else was on, it would not let me update it. So just be prepared that if you're sharing a document with somebody and they're in a specific section and holding on to a specific piece, that you might be able to edit it with them or you might not be able to edit it with them. If you are able to edit it with them, be very careful in how you're doing so, because you could literally be typing something and somebody be literally deleting it as you're typing it, or typing over it, or uh, make a mistake and insert your cursor right in the sentence that they were typing. So just be careful when you're doing co-authoring. It is super powerful. It's something I highly suggest most organizations use, but it can also get you in trouble. So be careful. Um, all right. So that's that. What else did I have to show you on here? Let me just make sure. Oh, okay. So comments. So we talked about sharing with edit access. You can also share with access that doesn't give them the edit ability, only gives them the ability to comment. We'll also look at adding a comment, at mentioning the collaborators in the comment, and then I'll show you the version history. So let me get back to that deck. Okay. All right. So kind of showed you before, but I'll go through it again. When you hit the share and you want to get the link that you want to share, under that gear, you also have the ability not only to say who the link works for, but what kind of link do they get? They get a link for them to edit? Do they get a link where they can view, but they can't make any changes? They can download it, but they can't make any changes. Um, and they can't upload it back either. They also can comment. Sometimes you might see another one that says can review, and that one only allows for comments. And then this one can't download means they can view it through the browser, but they can't download it to their desktop. So you could choose any of these and people will still be able to do comments on any of these. Okay, so let me get out of here. So say for example, I wanted to put a comment on this slide on this title. Maybe I don't like this title. Maybe it needs to be more verbose, um, more robust, maybe I should say, instead of verbose. Maybe it should be a little bit more robust. And maybe this is Harry's slide. Maybe I shouldn't mess with this slide. Or maybe I need some support from somebody else. I can click on the slide, click on the thing that I'm trying to make a comment on, and then there's the inserts, and I can do a comment. Okay. Now, when I comment, I can, let's say, @mention Harry. Now, this doesn't work very well with guest contributors if they're not named, because there's no way to really @mention them like that. But if these people are internal or they have a guest account in your organization, then they will be pull upable through @mention. And then you can put whatever comments. Please give me a suggestion for a better title. Now, just like we saw last week for the folks that were here last time, these comments still work the same way in that once you are finished with this, you can't just hit enter because it's not going to do anything. You have to actually hit the send button. If you don't hit the send button and you try to do another comment, this one will be like, you can't do it until you do something with this. You can also assign it to Hurry, which will make it end up showing up on his planner. But I could just send this like this, and it'll send him an email. It also highlights it, and you get the little box on it so that you know that a comment is here. And then you can open up the comment pane by clicking on comment there, and that opens up the comment pane, and you can see the comments as you're going through the different slides. You also get to see this little box right here. So it tells you that there's comments on the slide and how many that there are. All right. Now, Harry could, mention me and reply, and we could go back and forth until the thing is resolved. Now, depending on how you do things, you might do a combination of these things. You might thumbs it up. Like a lot of times, the thumbs up, though, is usually somebody else agreeing with your comment, not necessarily doing anything about it. But some people use it as thumbs up. This is good. You can also edit. So there's your edit button. But here's under these three dots, there's the resolve thread and delete thread. Now I know exactly what this does in Word, but in PowerPoint, I haven't tried this out yet. In Word, if you resolve the thread, so say he did it and I got it, he told me a suggestion and I put the suggestion in, I can resolve the thread. But as you can see, the text box for the thing um is still, oh, actually, no, because it's resolved. Sorry. The text box goes away. The chat box goes away. The indicator goes away. But the comment itself didn't go away. So when you have this, when you go to print it in Word, it actually prints with the comments in it. So a lot of times what you're going to need to do is resolve it and then delete it, which I don't like doing that because I like to have their history, but that's the way it shows up in Word, and it might show up the same way here in the PowerPoint. Even when I sent it via PDF, it still had all the comments in it. So you have to get rid of those comments in order for them to not show up in the printed version. But try that out in PowerPoint because it might be that that's just a Word thing and not a PowerPoint thing. Oh, okay. Oh, so Hurry was saying the email that was sent to him from that comment, he added it to the chat so everybody can see it. Okay. So I can go ahead and just open it real quick so y'all can see. So that's what it looks like. Email from you or the person that sent it to the person you're sending it to, what the PowerPoint or whatever the thing is, what the actual thing is, and it actually shows actually shows the slide too. Which is, that part's a little new, so that's kind of cool. All the rest of that's been there for a while. Okay, get back here. Okay, last thing, version history. At least last thing for this part, version history. So there are would be versions when you're collaborating on a document. The versions are saved as people are making changes. And the last version will show whoever happens to be last in the document and made the last change. But you get to it by going to the file, and then you go to the info pane, and under info, there's version history. We saw this last time too in the OneDrive session we had last time. So here's all the changes, and as you can see, some people made changes at the same time, so some of those changes are showing up in the same version. But when people make a change and it gets saved and it doesn't happen at the same time, then you'll only see the one person's name. But you can go back to any of these versions, open it, and then resave it again if you needed to roll back or whatever. But that's where your version history is. Just going to check the chat. Still not seeing any questions. Okay. All right. So that's collaborating. So you can work with people real time inside of a deck, just like you can do in a Word document as well as in Excel, and in a OneNote. A lot of different of the pieces inside the most used pieces inside of Office allow for that. So now let's look at the tools that you can use to help with boosting your confidence when you're actually presenting. And I'll actually show you the presenting slide for this slide. Right now, I'm actually using the presenter mode. So I'll just show you what that looks like again one more time on the actual this slide deck. But the way you get to it is down here. This is the easy button because there is another button for you to get to it up on the slideshow ribbon. But I usually use this one because it's easy. I just go down to this corner and I click on it. And that gets me to the slideshow, just like the one you're seeing, the other one that I'll just show you in a minute. So this slideshow backdrop back here helps you to be able to um, see the slide that you're on, see the next slide, see any notes that you may have. So let me exit this for a second. Here's the end slideshow right here. Go back right here. So we were on this slide when I went to share. So here's the notes. So these notes down here show up. And as I said, this is the deck that I'm actually using right now to present to you right now. So you see the presenter slide right here. You see which slide I have coming up next, which can be super helpful. And any speaker notes that you have is right there. This can be really helpful when you have two screens. And there are some things that you can do in Teams if you if you say you only have one screen and you're presenting to folks and you don't have the two screens. You can present by uploading this PowerPoint into Teams, and Teams would give you this section where you'll see this presenter view, but everybody else will see the presented view, which is this view. They'll see this view, you'll see this view, but it'll all be off of one screen. But since I have two screens, I have the ability to just move my stuff back and forth off of the different screens. Oh, before I leave this, let me finish. Okay. All right. There's also a timer here, which can be helpful for those of us who know we gotta stay within a certain time frame. This timer can help you. You also have this is just showing this taskbar right here. But the slide in slideshow, the display settings. So for some reason you're on the wrong screen. You got two monitors, but your presenter view is showing on the wrong screen like this. I could say swap it. And oh, since they're both on the same screen, it's not going to do it. Um, but if they were on two different, let me just move it over here. Okay, do that again. All right, so all it did was just swap. Now I have the presented screen over here, and I have the presenter screen on this side. And it's just small. That's why it looks like that. But if I were to switch it back, there we go. Or here we go. Because now it's hopefully, please don't screw. Oh, I see. I see. It was too big. Sorry, now I got this presenter screen all in my way. I gotta move it out of the way. Come on, bro. Move over. Okay. I'm gonna give it a beat. I think PowerPoint is getting a little fussy. All right, now let me move it over. Oh, actually, I need to keep it over here for one more second. Um, you have some other things down here, like your laser pointer, pen, so you can write and highlight on things. But I usually just use the laser pointer, and people will see it on the presented side. So like, say, for example, there we go. So you can see the laser pointer. You can write on your slides, as you can see. Sometimes you got to skip around in your slide deck because maybe they're a speaker that you suppose I had at this spot or something like that, and then you got to change around. You can use that sections part to actually flip to the different or flip back to different slides if you like. And you can also see the sections on the side as you see right here. This one right here is for the subtitles. So you can turn on subtitles for folks, which can be helpful, especially if people that who may be hearing, have hard of or a bit hard of hearing. Um, this one I haven't used, so I'm not going to touch that. But then there's some more sections or some more options here, like hiding the presenter view. Not sure why you would do that though, unless it's taking up your screen and getting in the way and stuff like that. And of course, you see all the rest of it in the slideshow, camera, turning that on, so forth and so on, screen stuff, so forth and so on. But all of those pieces in this presenter view can be so helpful when it comes to presenting, especially if you didn't have enough time to to prep fully. It can be a lifesaver. Or if you're just not as familiar with the deck, you might be taking over for somebody else all of a sudden. If they have good speaker notes in there, then that can make it so much easier for you to take over for them. So, a quick challenge slash call to action. Maybe you want to look at some of your slides and clean up some of that, clean up some of the slides with some layouts. Maybe condense some of that verbose uh, bullets like I have, and what is it? This one. Some of these really verbose bullets, like this one, content contains excessive amounts of text, could be simplified down into too much text. So simplifying some of that stuff using the layouts to help you stay consistent, maybe update an existing deck using the slide master, um, and maybe share a deck with somebody and use comments instead of using email to make your deck experience even more enjoyable. So conclusion, what we learned today is some good design techniques that will help support your message, how layouts and slide master can save you time and ensure consistency, how animations and transitions can add more impact, but should be used a little bit sparingly, especially, don't want to go crazy with the animations all the time. And collaboration tools that uh, this is a collaboration tool, and you learned about this as a collaboration tool, eliminating some of that version chaos that you can experience. So I know we are 2 minutes to the end, but are there any questions before I hand it back over to Harry to close this out? Okay, don't see any
Uh,
questions.
yeah, I don't see
So,
any questions at all. So, all right, so thank you for that, Nikkia, especially since we use presentations in pretty much everything. Where does it come down? Whether it's doing a presentation for a potential client, presentation to show off what products you have, education, all those things like that. Um, it's very important to have good slides and to be able to present properly. So, thank you very much. And for everyone else, thank you for coming. Join our next Microsoft Predicted Product Power Hour. We have it on the first Tuesday of every month. Next month, we'll be learning to use Word like a pro, learn Word tips for pilots, proposals, and reports. Please don't forget to complete your registration through our Microsoft forms. And also, you could take and use the QR code here as well. Next slide. So thank you. Feel free to reach out. The Microsoft Power Hour, we also have it, will be on LinkedIn, recapping on LinkedIn and YouTube. And thanks again to Nikkia NCT and Sissa Tech. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, wait a minute. All right, so if you want a copy of this slide, also check out the recap on our LinkedIn and company page. So with that said, thank you very much for coming, and we'll see y'all next month. Can't hold up. Can you just register on Alignable? Yes.
Yeah, you could register on Alignable, but it would be easier if you use the form so that we can actually send you reminders and such. But if you want to just use Alignable because you're on Alignable, which is where this Power Hour started off, you can definitely use that. But for the rest of us folks, when you get the recap, which will be in our company page, our LinkedIn company page that's right here, it's Microsoft. So you just go to LinkedIn if you like. Just do a search for the Microsoft Productivity Power Hour. You'll see our logo. So you'll be able to get to that page and see the recap, as well as this slide deck. And then also we'll give also a link to this link to the YouTube video of this presentation. But that's it. Thanks,
All
folks.
right. All right. Thank you very much, folks. See you next month.
See you next month, everybody.